Each year, a number of properties in Allen County revert to county government ownership due to delinquent taxes. In an attempt to get these properties back into the hands of the public sector, the Allen County Commissioners put together the Allen County Community Development Corporation. It works under the auspices of the Allen County Building Department. And here to talk with us about ACCDC, how it works, and how you might want to take a look at some of the properties that they have available is Dave Fuller, who is the Allen County Building Commissioner. Dave, thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure.
I kind of touched on it very briefly, but in a little more depth, tell us about the purpose and goals of ACCDC.
The ACCDC was set up primarily, as you indicated, to get a handle on all of those tax reverted properties and work toward getting them back in the taxpayers' hands through private ownership. We normally, in a typical year, would get about 300 properties in a tax sale. Those properties may be depressed, may be in very poor condition. In some cases, they're in decent condition, but they have a heavy load of liens and other things that prevented people from being able to keep up with the taxes. Whatever the reason, they end up in the hands of the county commissioners through the certificate issue, and the county commissioners then deed those over to the Allen County Community Development Corporation for us to sell back to the public.
Now, on average, about how many pieces of property would you normally have?
Typically, we'd get about 300 a year.
Right.
The economy has changed dramatically here in the last couple of years. A couple of years ago, in 2009, we got almost 1,200 properties. And last year we got about 800, so it's significantly increased with the economy changes.
And are we talking primarily residential areas, or are there some business or commercial properties involved as well?
There are some business and commercial properties. The majority of the properties are in Wayne Township in the downtown Fort Wayne area, although we do get some dispersed around the county. And a large part of those are residential structures or vacant lots, yes.
And this is throughout Allen County, including the city of Fort Wayne?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And I think the assumption probably is that, and it's probably correct, most of these are in what we would call economically depressed areas of the county, but that's not always the case.
Correct. We do get some properties that are in very good shape in a growing area, strong residential communities, and simply because they have a lot of liens against them or other things that prevent people from being able to pay those tax assessments, they've been defaulted on, and they ultimately end up in the hands of the Community Development Corporation. Okay. The process that we go through provides a cleaning of those titles to a certain extent. It's done through the court versus a deed title action. But basically, when they come to us, they don't have the same attachments that they would have during the tax sale process. Okay,
let's talk a little bit about the process and how it works. First of all, obviously, people will want to see what properties you have, where they're located. How do they get this list?
We get properties generally once a year after the tax sale redemption period is over, and we have published lists at the building department where our ACCDC is located. Those lists are available anytime the hours, the office hours are available, and those are $2 a piece for a hard copy.
And you also keep those lists available on the county's website, allencounty.us. If you go to government and then look under tax and properties, and you'll see ACCDC.
That's correct.
And you can find a list there.
And we're in the process of developing, and is actually live online now, although it's not fully developed. The ACCDC has its own website. Okay. And that is www.acimap.us/ACCDC.
And that'll help you probably see the areas also. You'll be able to pinpoint the exact locations of those properties.
It ties into the satellite imagery. You can search for addresses that you're interested in or neighborhoods that you're interested in, and it walks you through that process.
Now, people will bid on these properties, but you establish, I guess, a baseline or a minimum bid. Correct. How do you come up with that?
That minimum bid is a determination of our board of directors, and it's 5 times the annual property taxes on that property. So obviously a vacant lot is going to be a lot less than a property with a structure, but that is the base minimum bid, and then the bidding process opens as soon as the first bid is placed on that property, and it's open for a specific period of time, generally 2 weeks. At the end of that bidding period, then the high bidder generally gets the property.
Okay, let's say we've picked the property out. we want to get ready to make a bid, but obviously we want to take a much closer look at that property. How do you go about getting access to that property?
By contacting our staff, we will give the potential buyer a letter of authorization to enter that property. A lot of them are boarded up and secured. They will make way in the house themselves and are expected to leave it in the condition it was in when they found it. But that gives them the opportunity to go in and look around and get an idea whether the house is something they'd be interested in bidding on.
Now, part of the process also involves potential bidder putting in earnest money.
Correct.
What exactly is that?
The earnest money that we require is basically the amount you're wanting to bid on the property. We used to do it without any kind of earnest money, and we had a lot of people bidding on properties and then backing out through the process. So we developed the idea of earnest money where you've actually got that investment in. You still have the opportunity for a 3-day period to change your mind after the bidding is closed. But the earnest money verifies that you're a serious bidder and you have the resources to handle that property.
All right, so let's say I put my bid in, the 2-week period passes, and I turn out to be the high bidder. What steps take place next to finalize the sale?
As soon as the bid period's over, we will notify both the successful bidder as well as the unsuccessful bidders. We return the money within 3 days to the unsuccessful bidders, and the successful bidders then asked to come in and fill out the sales disclosure paperwork, all of the other deed paperwork. Then the staff processes that deed through the commissioner's office to get it approved and through the recorder's office to get it recorded. Then that deed is mailed out to the buyer.
Now, people who purchase these properties and take them over, they are expected to exhibit responsibility for that property and to make needed repairs to it. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the paperwork process that we go through to the successful bidder explains all that. If they're going to do building work, they need to obviously get building permits and do the work according to code. If there are some open cases, which happens with neighborhood code enforcement for the city of Fort Wayne, they are expected to contact code and develop a work plan with code of time frames of when that work is going to be done. And there is some financial discussion through that bidding process to verify that the people who are buying the properties have the financial resources to put into the property. The idea is that we want to get owners in that property who will be responsible neighbors to the surrounding community.
And obviously you're expecting individuals who are serious about this, not speculators or people who are just looking to buy property and maybe unload it quickly to someone else later.
That's correct. We're fairly careful about screening our customers.
Okay. And how successful would you say the ACCDC has been in that regard?
It's been pretty successful. We've had challenges in the past. As we got the development corporation started, we've refined those processes to the point that we have a large percentage of the people who buy our properties are responsible buyers, developing those properties back into usable, livable condition, and becoming a good part of the neighborhood.
And it also gets these, as we mentioned, back into the private sector, back on the tax rolls.
Back on the tax rolls. So the community as a whole develops that benefit from it.
And I know you have a couple of new people who are now on staff at ACCDC.
Yes.
What changes have you made as far as the operation in that regard?
A lot of it was dictated by the large number of properties we got. We've become much more automated through our computer systems. We actually hired a realtor to fill one of the positions who has a real estate background and can deal with the aspects of selling. And then we have an architect on staff also who does the evaluations on the property. He helps with the selling also, but he does an evaluation of every property and every structure that we have so that we know what our inventory is and can determine what the best use of that property is.
If people want more information about ACCDC, how do they go about getting it?
They can either email through the website that I mentioned, and there is a link to email directly to our staff, or they can contact the office, and that is 449-3276 to reach Pat Day, or 449-7199 to reach Tim Bailey.
Okay. Dave, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it. Thanks for explaining ACCDC to the viewers, and hopefully we'll be able to get some folks interested in investing and helping turn some of these properties around and make them very useful to the community once again.
Okay. Thank you very much.